Why don't I just film y'all?
You want to do it?
Yeah, you gotta take selfies and stuff.
All right, hold on. I'm going to spin this around so you can... Well, actually, no, because I want to see the people going to pop up and ask questions and stuff like that.
Why don't I just communicate that
you're
with y'all?
saying, are we live? And we're live right now.
Okay, so won't you...
Imani tried to dip down.
So
okay,
as
we waiting for people to pop up.
Is popping up with questions and stuff. Won't you look at that from my tablet?
Oh, I can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like outside.
Hey, y'all.
Thought about that.
Hey. We got all kind of people up. Oh, it's going to be... the chat room going to be packed tonight. This is going to be amazing.
So this is new. This is new for me.
Yeah, this is.
Once was Woomy. The first time I did was Woomy.
Yeah, did the interview with Egbe with you, and did you see that? Yeah, Jerry, that was awesome. Hey, Kyle, for everybody that's coming on in. Who's that? Hey, Kyle, we're gonna have an awesome interview tonight and general discussion and all of that. It's gonna be off the chain. So I want y'all to prepare y'all questions. We got all kind of wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Oh, thank you. She says our energy feels awesome. Hey, awesome sauce. So, hey, Boroboye, Ifafonke. Fomike. Yeah, Oshun Balaji just got on. Yeah. I'm excited about this because I've been trying to get all this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding up in the room tonight. Yes, all these Oshun folks up in here. Did you see that? Is it gonna echo though? Oh, okay. All right, so I'm gonna change this around. There you go. All right. We're gonna go ahead and get started.
Hey, Kayende.
Yes, what am I calling LaShawn? Yes, Kahinde. All right. So we're gonna go around and introduce the ears. Tonight, I'm going to start with myself. I'm Oyawumi. I'm going to just give y'all that. I got like 10 million names. Oyawumi right here. And we have...
Oshuni Kantomi. Oshun Togun. Oshun Yemi.
All this wisdom up in here. My beautiful elders. Being from Cleveland, one of my elders initiated to Oshun and Ifa and Jerry. I call it and Egbe. Yes, yeah, and Egbe like forever, like 20-some years. 26 years.
21 for Egbe.
21 years for Egbe, 26 for Oshun, and E5 some years too. So we got and Oshun Yemi 19 years, Oshun, and some years E5 and Oshun Tokun. We got all this wisdom up in here. So tonight I want to bring some topics and debunk some myths about Oshun, you know, on both sides of the game. On this side of the water, the diaspora, and in Nigeria, you know. So I want to get some questions answered tonight. We have ears here that was initiated in Lukumi and Nigeria, and I would say raised in Lukumi and also traditional. So you have both sides of the game up in here that they were raised in, just like myself, birthed in Lukumi and also I would say raised in Isin Ibile traditional religion, Nigerian religion. So I wanna start with you. How you feeling? Good. This is a rare event right here. Yeah.
Woman, shout down, Fabulous. Go see her.
Shout out, Fabulous. Yes. Come see me, get that hair done. So, let me see. I'm gonna be answering questions Oh yeah, we over here on Shimbalaji. Sorry, this is so
Nick did
last
it.
minute improv for real.
Missing Bolachi.
So Ia,
Yes.
how did you get into? So this is a question for all of y'all. You can, we ain't got to drag it all night or whatever, but how did you get off into Orisha worship?
Oh, let's see. My sister here, Oshun was going to Howard. And
Thank you. You
right,
know.
historically black college university. And I was active in the church, but there were some things going on at that time in the United Methodist Church that I felt were very racist. And it wasn't sitting well with me because I have sons. And I thought I need to investigate something else. So I started studying what she was sharing with me, and it hit home. So long story short, I had an initiation within I guess it was maybe 3 years of starting.
Wow, that was
Right. It really did hit home. So that's how I got my start.
Wow, that was quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was like 7 years in or 8 years before I made that decision because that was a big.
They were telling me, everybody was telling me, I was getting it from one person, I was getting it from the Babala, I was getting it from the Oriate, I was getting it from everybody that I needed to do that. So I went ahead and made that move.
What about you, Ia?
Well, my path was a little different. I took my first trip to Ghana in '97 with Dr. Wade Nobles and Naeem Akbar. And we went to a shrine, an Akan shrine, and this was in Kumasi. So while there, the priest of that shrine came to me and had me come to the court. And so just like, in most African traditions, you invoke with drumming, dancing, singing. So he was up dancing and he invited me up. And so when I got up to dance with him, which I did not want to do, but I got up to do it, and all of a sudden I was no longer in control of my body.
Oh wow.
And so I had that experience, and when I came home, this brother who I knew was in the Lukumi tradition, I went and told him what happened to me, and he took me to a priest of Yemenia in Oakland. And so I had a reading, and it really came up neutral, like just explore the Akan tradition. But where I lived in California, I really didn't know anybody in the Akan tradition, but I was starting to come across and meet everybody in some form of the Yoruba tradition, whether Lukumi or something like that. And so I was just going to bembes and participating in all kinds of activities, and I did that for years and years and years. I never joined anything until 2008. I decided to go ahead and get my lekes and my hand of Ifa. And so, but that was the basically still Lukumi. And then I met Baba Taiwo. And so in 2011, I went to Nigeria and got initiated in Oshobo to Oshun.
Wow. Wow.
So that was my journey. It was kind of a winding road.
Wow. Wow. I mean, everything always leads back to, square one with your ancestral
Yes.
path.
Yeah, because I did have an ancestral altar for years. I did that. Like I understood this connection to my ancestors, and I wasn't really interested in anything else other than that until I had that experience. It's like, what is this? Where something can happen to me where I'm conscious, but I'm not in control of my body, right? And so it just led me there. And I was at a crossroad in 2008, and so it was like, okay, let me do something to invite spirit into my life. Like I'd say it's like the electrical outlet. Like it's there, but if you don't plug into it, then you don't have access to it. And so for me, it was a way of saying, okay, let me plug in to all there is in the universe that I'm connected to. And by saying, okay, I'm ready to do this, then I'm plugging into that source.
Wow,
that's already
that's a
there.
good analogy. Thank you for that. Wow.
I like that. I like that.
That was dope. So we got Ia Oshun Yemi. Can you please share your experience and how you got in?
Boy. Yeah, I'm trying to think when I got my hand to be 5. That was in 1986.
Wow. I was like 10.
That's the year I was born.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Our camera lady was born in that year. So, don't do the math. Right, don't do the math.
So, Ia Chifama.
So, I was actually attending a church. And I was kind of okay with it. But I was never, even as I was raised, like my sister was sharing, we were raised in a United Methodist tradition, but I never was a believer that there was only one way to bind back to the Creator, and I just didn't believe that. I just didn't believe it. So I didn't feel it. I shouldn't just say I didn't believe it. I didn't feel it, that was really the case. So along the way, in twists and turns, I started actually leaving church, and I would go down to Oshun Yina Lake. Some people may know her. She's been initiated for many, many years, and Oshun Bamike Aduke Baba Etanu. I would go by their house after church, right? So I go to church and I go by their house, and we just sit and talk. And I started having more and more questions based on what I was hearing, particularly about the history of the Christian church, and as it related to events and historical facts about how the African continent evolved and colonialism, and it was a little disconcerting to me to hear those stories, and it piqued in me a lot of interest in what is really mine? What were my people doing before there was colonialism and before Christianity came? So I'm going to keep that story really short and say that that's what really brought me to Orisa. However, I didn't make the choice to become initiated to Oshun. I got a hand of Ifa, and I was initiated in the Lukumi tradition, so I received warriors in about 1986. But I didn't choose to commit my Ori to be made to Oshun until 1999.
Wow.
That was I had to decide that I really was committed, because I'm not the type of person that just gets into things that require that much of a serious commitment without a lot of thought and meditation. The ancestors kind of pulled me in. They were like, yeah, come on.
They will do it.
They just sucked me
Won't
in.
they do it?
They did. And there are a lot of things I've learned along the way, I have found that Orisa, for me, there was always another component. There was the Orisa component. There was Oshun. There's always been Oshun. And my Oshun is Ibukole, who is seen as the vulture in this community. Her icon is the buzzard, and she's also, as my godfather, Shangadei Alafia, Ibaba Itanu, he's the one who initiated me to Oshun in the Lukumi tradition. He was the first African-American Oriate in this country in the Lukumi tradition. But he was telling me the story about Ibu Kole, and I can't put it together exactly right now, but it has to do with the one who doesn't have a home, and a story about the message that had to be carried to Dumare, and only Ibu Kole could fly high enough to take it there, but when she came back, all her house was gone, right? So she was busy doing the work and had to make some sacrifices herself. I find my path to be kind of like that, but I'm quite comfortable where I am with it. I'm comfortable that it took me a long time to commit to it. I don't have doubt that I made that choice. And I recently decided to commit to making my Ifa, which really has given me a lot of it's almost like it's shored up the foundation for my spiritual beliefs and practices. So yeah, I have a lot to say, but I'll
Right.
There's a whole lot there to say.
I always love your story. The connection that you have with your entryway through Lukumi, and honoring that. Your foundation, and just embracing and connecting. I love all of how you all embrace it. Just gave me a whole new outlook, I would say, in the past couple of years, and embracing Orisa practice in the diaspora and Orisa practice in Nigeria, and bringing that together to make it your own. You know, to make it what it is for you. You know, and how you serve Orisa and how Orisa serves you.
I'm hot.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a little hot here.
We
Maybe
have
it's the wine. You're not drinking no wine. You're not drinking no wine.
I close
So, you know, I really respect that, and you all have opened my eyes to that and being open to that. I have a question right quick before I move on to the next segment from Kahinde. How do you know when you're ready to commit for initiation? I mean, like Kahinde has, you know, she doing a reading, she was doing, you know, receiving 5 things like that. But how do you know when you're ready? What was your aha moment like? God, I better hurry up and do this before, you know, or
For me, I kept getting the same information in the reading, and finally the Oriate who was doing the reading said, "Okay, I don't know how many times you want me to keep telling you the same thing. I don't know how many times, how much of your money you want me to take. Okay, but this is the deal. This is what you need to do." So I decided that I was going to go ahead and do it, especially since I consider having started this process late in life or later in life. I didn't want to wait too long, because even though I've always been told that my biggest blessings were coming later, I didn't want to be a fossil by the time they got here. Let me go ahead and do this.
That's funny.
So I went ahead and made the. I don't have any regrets for having done it quickly, because if I had thought about it too long, I might have changed my mind and figured out all sorts of reasons why I shouldn't do it, and
talking yourself
this
out
and that, and then told people, and they'd be telling, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," and blah, blah, blah. And I really didn't want to hear that, because once I decide something is good for me, then it's good for me, you know, and it's been good for me.
So, like I said, from 97, for many years, I was around the tradition, but I never committed to anything. And then I got my hand to E5 Warriors in 2008. And then by 2011, I decided to go ahead with initiation. And it was really because I just wanted for my own life to be balanced, and I wanted to have access just to the tools that can help me be the best me I could be. And so I decided to go ahead and move forward. It's like just faith, just like, okay, I'm going to do this, and with the faith that it's going to help me, and not only help me, but help my family too, because everything I do for myself is for
the
them.
family.
And even though they may not understand it,
Right.
but it's all for them. So
wow.
Yeah. I don't remember why. You know, it took me 9 years. I'm a pensive person. What did I say the other day? Analysis paralysis.
You overthinking.
I was overthinking it. It's like, really? I really want to do this. And then it just, there were a lot of things that started to be, they started to converge. Like, there were phenomena that I experienced. One of them that I miss, actually, is when I was single. I got out of college and was single for 10 years before I got married and had kids. So I had a long time living by myself and a lot of peace. You know, if I closed my door, it was just me. It was very peaceful in my house. And I used to go into my makeshift shrine room. I'm just saying, it really was. But I could go into my shrine room, and at the time it wasn't a consecrated shrine. It was just one that I set up for the ancestors, and I would sit and pray, and I would literally be able to pull myself up out of my body, and I would look at myself saying a prayer. And and then there were times when the vivid dreams and the story that I really like to tell. You guys have probably already heard the story about the time that I was being threatened. And I went to visit a friend, and when I got ready to leave, we've been drinking a lot of wine. Okay. So when I got ready to leave, I kept hearing a voice that said, you might want to stay here for a little while. Just don't go home right now. But I had been there for about 4 hours. And it was 10 o'clock at night. I was like, it's time for me to go home. And every step I took toward the door, the voice got louder and louder and louder. I was like, don't go, stay inside. And I was completely ignoring it because I'm thinking, it's just the wine, right? I get outside. I'm almost mugged, by some strangers. And it was just the force field of the spirit that kept the strangers from assaulting me. And I started to give more credence to things that really I hadn't had in my Christian church experience. And I know there are probably some people who are Christians who have that experience. I'm only talking about it from my perspective, that I had not had that type of education and experience and connection. And it all started to come together with those type of experiences for me. And that one was really an epiphany for me that let me know that some of these things that I thought I might have just, I didn't know what they were, but Orisa gave me a path to have an explanation and a basis for them that I am still comfortable with, that I've been able to build on. That I find a lot of power in, a lot of personal power in, and it's helped me walk very well in the world.
Well, that's powerful. That's powerful. With the different experiences with them and their Orisa. I mean, that's what it's really about, is your own experience, not what somebody else speaks over you.
Right.
When nobody else says. It's your connection between you, your Ori, and the rest. The Orisa, your Egbe, your ancestors. That's the most important piece. You can't do anything because somebody said it. You listen and you be still and listen to what Orisa says. Now for me, I don't like repercussion. I don't like my ass whooped. It's too much so.
Right. Yeah,
So I, if Orisa said do it, I'd be like, okay, dang, no, okay, all right, I'm gonna do it. And I did everything they said to do thus far. They said initiated, I did that. Everybody else was initiated, I did it. All my ebos, I did it. The medicine they said take, I did it. It's just I don't want to see. Because I had my ass whooped so many years, and it don't feel good, and just being obedient. And not to say because you're initiated and you're a Orisa practitioner, you don't get your ass whooped, that you don't go through it. Because you do go through it. It just makes you stronger. It makes you have more faith. It gives you more strength, more courage, more understanding, so you can be a voice. So you can be an example also, and you just you gotta walk through faith. It's just that simple. So I want to speak a little bit about Oshun specifically, because we all initiate Oshun, but I know for me Oshun was the hardest initiation I've ever been through. Don't ask me why. I just don't. It was very difficult those days. Physically, emotionally, and spiritually, it was difficult. And it was just very difficult. And so I wanted to get an understanding from you all. The Oshun, the misconceptions of Oshun. I want you to debunk the misconceptions, because I'm so tired of hearing
She's a
Oshun.
harlot. She's not a harlot.
That Oshun is this prostitute, light skin only, because the Cubans speak that you can only be light-skinned to be initiated, so Oshun. I've heard that numerous times. You can only be initiated. Light-skinned to be initiated, so Oshun. Let's debunk the myth. What myths have you heard over the years about Oshun? I'm going to answer some questions in a few minutes, some more questions. But what have you heard over the years that you debunked, like, nah, this ain't, I don't fall under that category. I don't fall under that misconception of what people say Oshun is, because Oshun, to me, what I've seen, is a warrior. She come and she will cut you if you mess her children. If she mess with it, I'm telling you, it's not all about this fan and the mirror and beauty.
Yeah.
She is that,
Yeah.
but she's all. When I tell you, she will cut your ass. She will come for your throat. She will come for you. You mess with her children, her loved ones. She is a protector. I know in Oshogbo there are 41 paths of Oshun, and they are all warrior paths of Oshun. So Oshun is not just this honey and fan and tight dress.
Let's speak about the honey.
Okay.
Yes, let's talk about the honey.
Yes.
So,
Yes, ma.
all right, they say that, oh, Oshun loves honey. You give Oshun honey because she's so sweet and blah, blah, blah. No. No. I'm going to tell you why I think we give Oshun honey. That's to keep her ass from going off.
Oh, yes.
Because, seriously, I think she needs honey to keep her sweetened up because she is such a warrior. She is so protective. She is, that kind of person who will go the extra mile. She'll think of all sorts of things to do for people who she loves and feels comfortable with. It's not, there's too much of a superficial idea or concept of Oshun. Oshun is extremely powerful. Her Odu, Oshe, in Merindee Lagoon, 16 cowrie shells, talks about the sword that can cut the iron. The tree that swims in the river like a canoe. I went to the river once. I have spots in Cleveland where I go to the river and just say prayers, sit and meditate, listen and whatnot. And once I went after a thaw in the early spring. There had been a big snowfall. And the river was very high, and I tell people I'll get in the river, but I'm not getting in the river. If I get out the car and I hear the river, no, I'm not getting, nope. It's like, hey, yeah. But no. I saw the river carrying an entire pine tree.
Wow.
The whole thing, roots and all, was coming down the river, and I thought, And they talk about this is the one who's superficial and likes honey. No, I think that honey is used as an antidote so that she does not, become such that she is, you can't deal with her. She's got a lot of work to do. Water has no enemy is one of the proverbs, and therefore water is welcome now almost anywhere. We're getting ready to look at maybe some tail end of some hurricane down in this part of the world, but for the most part, human beings need water.
Everything.
We need water for everything.
Everything.
So her work is vast, and some of the work that she has to do, for example, me as a nurse, that can be some tiring and taxing work. So some sweetness is very welcome. So that whole premise about the honey, because she's sweet and she's always laughing and she's always in the mirror and she's this and that. Yeah, we want to look good. We want to be fly, but it's beyond that.
That's a great aspect.
Beyond that.
Really, really cleared up a lot, because so many people have this misconception about, and honey is a strong medicine.
Yes, it is.
It's a strong medicine to be still and be quiet. It has a lot of medicinal properties, but to be still. And they say, oh, watch your mouth, put a little honey on your tongue.
Yes.
Like literally, put a little honey on your
Yes.
tongue. What about you, EJ?
So I've heard things about Oshun, like the harlot, the prostitute, things like that. And mind you, I'm the baby in the group, so I'm not that long initiated. But for me, in my talks with her, Oshun, it's really about how do I be a demonstration and show love. What does love look like, and what does it look like to be compassionate and forgiving for myself first, before all others. And so these are my conversations with Oshun. I understand that there's polarity in the forces of nature, that what can give life can also take it away.
Wow.
And so the waters of Oshun that is life-giving can take your life and floods and all kinds of natural disasters that happen. And so I understand that, and I understand the polarity between having this life-giving, love, compassionate side, and then the warrior side. And so that my life is that warrior side. It is, but I need that balance of the love and the sweetness. And so it is for me. How do I seduce that which is bitter into the sweet? Because there's, when you're going through stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or something that you perceive as negative happening to you, how do you seduce it into something that is sweet? And so for me, that is what that energy and how I relate to it in my life.
Exactly. Wow, that's powerful. And just to add to what you were saying about you're the baby in the group, you had this relationship from Oshun from the day you came out the womb.
Probably.
Initiation is just the beginning.
Probably, yeah.
But your relationship with Oshun has been for as long as you've been alive. So
I can see that.
That wisdom is there.
There's been a calling from the time I was young that I recognized. Growing up in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I mean, a 5, 6, 7-year-old, it's like you can't explain it then. It's just retro, looking back, hindsight that it's this. I just remember and look back on how I was as a young person, and so I can see now that the calling was always there. It just took me a while to catch up.
Yeah.
To it.
The realignment.
Yeah.
With your ancestors.
Yes.
Pulling you.
Yes.
Like,
for sure.
Whisper in your ear, come
For
on
sure.
now. Get it together.
Or else.
Or else. That's it. No, ain't nothing else behind that is or else.
Whatever the else is.
Whatever
the else is.
All right, yeah. Oshun, get me.
I'm going to take something that my sister, Oshun Ikantami, shared with me. She was like, go sit at the river and watch the water. So, I would go sit at the river and watch the water. And there's a particular spot I like to go to where the water at one point is coming down a waterfall and it's cascading over the rocks. It's really rocky. It's very turbulent. You wouldn't want to be in it because you would probably lose your life. And after it gets through that point, it becomes very calm. But it also starts to have to flow around other things. Right. So there's a little island in the middle, and on one side of it, the water, if the water is low, it dries up. And all the water chooses to go around to the other side. And along the way, the water will find these, what I call cesspools, where the water flows in and it cannot get out. And it gets stagnant. And you just see it sitting there, and all the water is flowing past it, except for this little bit of water. It's just sitting there, and it can't get out, right? It's not getting out of there until there's a storm, right? And the storm comes and the water comes up, and then it can finally be free if it doesn't dry up first, right? And I just sit there and I watched it and I watched it and I watched it, and I can draw parallels to different parts of my life where I've seen it be rocky and I've seen it be nice and cool, and then there's been points where I had to make decisions because I didn't want to be over in the side where it's so shallow and so rocky that the dryness could just dry it all up, or it could push me over into a space that I couldn't get out of, and it would get stagnant and it gets all scummy on the top. And it's just the nature of watching the water.
Watching that water.
Watch the water. So as an Oshun person, I want to flow.
Right.
I want to keep flowing. I don't like it when I have to flow over the rocks, but I'm gonna flow. I don't think there's some people here. No, I'm flowing. I'm getting over. I am getting over them rocks. Right. I'm not stopping. I'm getting over the rocks.
Water is gonna swirl. Even if you rotate it, you kept having to relearn that lesson or whatever. You had to do a sit still for the meantime, but you kept moving and flowing.
Keep moving.
And
Don't get stuck over in that little corner where you can't get out.
Look, you got some praises right here. Yeah. They love you.
Think about my Ojibana when I first got initiated, and she asked me how does God speak to you? Mm-hmm. And I said that I'm the type of person, I do what I have to do. I just move forward. And then when I hit against something, I just figure out a way to go around. Like if I keep hitting against it and I'm not making any progress, I just figure out how to go around. And she told me that's the nature of Oshun. She was trying to help me understand
And
the nature of Oshun. It's like you get around and flow above.
And it doesn't go back. Rivers don't flow back up.
Go back,
They don't go back.
No.
We go this way.
Yep.
We're not going back.
Not go back.
We ain't go back.
All.
And what I find about my relationship with Oshun and Ifa, and recently as I've come to understand Egbe, and that's something that Oshun and Nikantami can talk about as an initiative. But that Egbe component is significant because what I use them for is guideposts. That's like my GPS.
Yes, it is.
You know, they're telling me stop because there's a problem down the road and you can't see it,
Right.
but we're trying to tell you. And we can either obey. It's better to, what is it? It's better to obey than to make sacrifice.
Better than sacrifice.
Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yes.
So I'm an obedient child of Oshun over here.
You know what else I like about the river, if we're talking about the river? As a singer, the river sings.
Makes different noises.
It makes different noise. Oh, sorry.
That's real loud.
It makes different noises, and on a beautiful sunny day, the water is fresh and clean, and it's singing. I tell people that I like to sing, and I like to be on stage and those types of things, but singing for me is healing. It's that aspect of Oshun that I have that's healing. I get a lot from singing for people, and that reminds me of the sound of the river. The river sounds different on a day where the current is normal, quote unquote, than it sounds after a heavy rain. That is a rushing, scary sound. But the trickling and the normal flow of a river on any given day is really a healing song, basically.
It does. I love when I hear it gurgle. I don't know. I like that gurgle sound. I wanted to say, Chief Fama says, water has no hands, water has no legs, yet water sweeps effortly in relation what is just said about Oshun's power, or Oshun. Yes. And to you, Popola says, you need to know that Oshun has been part of you since you have been in the making. The physical connection might be now, but she's been coexisting with Oshun.
Existing,
That's very true, because I remember when I was younger, when we would be younger, I remember when Mommy and Daddy would take us on cookouts in the park. There would always be some water. I would be really salty if we went on a picnic and there was a little creek that I could get in. I had to get in and stand in it. It was just, and that was Squaw Rock. He used to take us there a lot. Then didn't I get my cleansing going into Entrada for Oshun at Squaw Rock.
Oh, really?
Yes, at Squaw Rock.
What does that thing?
Oh, it was ridiculous. I felt like my head was shrinking.
I was like,
October 31st, that water was cold.
I was made in December.
Oh.
December 11th. When that river.
Was the water cold or something?
Well, y'all took me out before I get to that river because she knew I was gonna die of something. That river was too much.
I don't remember. I didn't get in. I just got. I didn't get in all the way to the river. So no. It was just pouring water over my bald shaved head.
A
couple strangers.
They wanted us to. The ideal was to get washed, bathed in the river.
What advice do you have for people that's coming up that want to, especially people that been in the tradition for a while before they make that choice to commit for initiation? People think that initiation, man, you gotta be this public priest and you gotta do all this stuff for everybody. I mean, Ia been initiated 19 years. She ain't.
Wait. Let me clear something up. Because I have heard this so many times. I actually, you know, if I were really inclined to, I could take offense. But I'm not inclined to take offense. But I've heard people say to me, "Oh, well, you're not a real priest because
I hate that.
you don't have people come to your house, and you know you don't have an elay and blah 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 blah." But the thing about it is, you know, there are people who come, and there are people who ask for help, and there are people who I work for, but that's not what the focus of my priesthood has been. My priesthood has been for the purpose of bringing my family along.
That's right. That's right.
You know, I'm carrying a whole family on my back. So,
Me too.
you know, it's don't think that, please don't be discouraged from considering an initiation because you think that it's supposed to be a very public and onerous task where you have to take on a lot of responsibility for other people. It's not necessary. You got to follow your road.
Right.
You follow your road.
Right.
Not, you know, Susie's road or, you know, anybody else's road. Follow your road. It'll be all right.
Yeah, I can't compare my Ori to hers and hers and hers. Like, everybody has their own role in life, period. And whatever that may be.
Right. It's
But
different.
my main purpose was to also help my family. At that time, and even now, I'm the only Orisa practitioner in my family. And I've had many family members come to me for help, emergency situations. And if I was not where I needed to be, then they wouldn't get what they needed today as well. And that's including my children. My children are my everything. Whatever that may be. Help with school, help with saving their life, making their life comfortable, making my life comfortable so I can afford to take care of them or support also my spiritual family. Everybody here around this beautiful island here is my spiritual family.
I have one more thing to add.
Yes, go ahead.
Other people come with different skills and gifts as well.
Yes.
So my sister and I, we kind of bounce off each other all the time, right? This lady right here, she is one of the best D-Logoon diviners I have ever gotten divination from. Call her up. Okay. And be prepared. Make your elbow. If you going in, go all the way in. That's a whole nother conversation. But you know, then Ia asked me things about how to get organized.
Right.
And how not to get all stressed out when you got a whole lot of things that you have to deal with all at the same time. I mean, that's what I do. I deal with lots of stuff. So it really is your Ori. You know your Ori. You know, we consult Ifa so we can understand what our destiny is. And I, in particular, use Ifa divination because I don't treat Ifa divination frivolously.
Right.
I'm not going to Ifa and say, hey, you know, I need some money because I got kids in college and I need to pay their tuition. So can you hook a sister up with another, you know, $5,000 so I can make this tuition payment? No, I'm not going to go to Ifa with that. You know, this is about my health and about my strength and about making sure my children are on the right path and you know they're staying out away from the Elenini and the you know the people who are not meaning well for them, the negativity. It's just you know, follow your road. But everybody's road is not like, I don't have that gift that my sister has. She has a gift for that. I don't have that gift. I'm okay with that.
Trust that.
You know,
Don't let her fool you. She got some bad gifts.
That one right there.
She helped me a lot. Hey.
You know, for
Oshun took them.
for me, the challenge has been living on the West Coast, and most of the people that I know and associate with are on the East Coast. So my learning curve has been just very difficult. It's been a challenge for sure. Not having the same community. And not only am I on the West Coast, but I'm in Sacramento in the Valley. So it's just not a lot of Orisa anything there. I mean, there's some pockets there, but not a lot. So the isolation is there. But I'm doing the work.
She's doing the work.
I do the work, you know, because a part of my gift, even before I got initiated, was just bringing people together. And so my house has a name, and it's Egbe. It's what I call my house, and it's a place where people come to gather. And so I've been doing that just to come for love and to eat and to heal and to have support and to family. And I can offer that. And so that's the gift that I bring. And I'm not, definitely did not get initiated to have godchildren or to do anything like that. I just do what I do.
them.
Okay. I've been told that. But you know, definitely not my intention. Right? I just do what I do.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't even know what you do, right?
Right.
Because you just swimming in it.
Right.
So you don't see it.
But that's powerful to even have a space that people can come to, because it's been nice that I could not get my mind settled. And Iya Yemi was like, "You want to come over to eat?" She just be like that. And so I named her Ile Onche. That's the food, the Ile with the food. And she was like, "I fried some chicken. You want to come eat?" and you have no idea how that would soothe my spirit. I was going through some challenges, and the spirit of that community, her being family to me and being present for me and my family, there's no amount of money that can repay that. I mean, that was just that essence that healed my spirit and brought me up to where I am today. So, woo!
And you know, you know what else as far as initiation is concerned? For me, having Oshun, because I was read Yemanjah for years, and that's okay. For the first 3 years, I was read Yemanjah. Then all of a sudden, it started becoming Oshun when it was close to initiation. And I thought Oshun, but I don't fit that persona. You know, here we go with the persona, the stereotype. For me, Oshun has given me self-confidence. Or helped me develop. I can't say given it. She's helped me develop it. I had to go through a process. And I still am in that process of developing the self-confidence, as is evidenced by the divination that I had this weekend. Still in process with that. But the other thing is that if you take your walk seriously, they will tell you things that you really, I don't want to say shouldn't be doing, but are not best for you. I was working ICUs in a major teaching hospital, and they told me, no, that's not really your best bet. And I thought, well, okay, but that's how I make my money. What am I going to do? The mistake I made, and I had, you talk about spiritual butt whooping. Oh my goodness. The mistake I made was that I did not get started with the plan. Egbe says bit by bit by bit. I stayed right here and would not start looking at getting here. So after about 5 years, I got kicked.
That's what happened.
And that was, you talk about awful. That was horrible. Let me just say that I let my nursing license lapse for about 5 years behind that incident, even though the nursing board was fine. But I was just like, oh no, that was too much. Now, you all can read that in my upcoming book, Hood Medical.
All right.
Shameless plug for Hood Medical.
Website.
Yes, website. www.bbeyondcategory.com. You'll see everything that I do, the arts and the other stuff. I tend to be a very complicated person, and I needed to sort all of that out. I needed to sort out the healing and the arts, which I lump it all into healing arts because that's what it all is. Orisa, and one thing I like about the system, Ifa, is that it is not a cookie cutter approach. It is not that everybody does this and everybody should do that and everybody does that. Nope, there are 256 Odu and there are thousands and thousands of verses, and we fall under whichever ones we fall under, and that's what we're supposed to focus on for our life in order to have the best possibility. That's what I really can appreciate. Now, everybody doesn't have to do it that way, but for me, that works because sometimes things are complicated. It's very helpful to have a personal approach to things. So that's my plug on why Orisa, for me, the system of Ifa has been quite beneficial, even to the point where I find myself back in a church as a bridge of sorts, because what I do is I'm kind of the teacher there or the resource person for African culture. I don't know how long that'll last, but for now, that's what it is. So if people have questions, they come to me, and I tell them directly because I have been to the source, and I've been several times. Even the Nigerians who are in the congregation, who used to look at me sideways, have started opening up to me as far as, wanting me to be involved with their kids, that kind of thing, because I can appreciate their homeland. So it's all very different. Everybody does not do the same thing.
That's true. I wanted to, that's what I wanted to discuss, you bringing African traditional culture and religion into the church and bridging that, because so many people you've been debunking a lot of myths at your church and the communities that come into that church, which is great, which is your path, to have one foot here and one foot there and to bridge. And that, I really acknowledge you and respect you for that, because that is takes a lot of courage. Because you got some of these Christians, a lot of patience. You got a lot of Christians that be like, oh, hell no, this devil stuff, this voodoo stuff. You be like,
I don't like that. I don't like that we should know better than that by now. We should know that the media bastardizes anything that came from out of Africa. We should know that. And if we don't, we should see it now with the Trump administration. We should see how they do stuff. I'm going there because it's go into there. That's because they are very obvious on a daily basis. We should stop that. And I don't care what anybody cries. I don't care because I'm still going to do me. But at least don't be ignorant. That's what I don't like. Don't be ignorant. I'm not trying to press nobody to be what I do. I'm not trying to tell anybody that what I'm doing is right. It's right for me.
It's right for you.
But you do what you do, but don't be ignorant, especially about stuff that's ours.
Our ancestors. It's our right, our birthright. It's our birthright.
It is.
Also, it's the ancestral call.
It is. They calling a lot of us back. I'm starting to see a lot. Doctors and lawyers, I went to that Isheshe event that Sekou Alajay has in New York, and it was a councilman who came and proclaimed there was a law he made that day, Isheshe Day in New York. And he was an E5 priest. We need to see that, and work together and make it evident in our communities and not be afraid anymore. We don't need to have nothing. We are here. We are lawyers. We are project managers. We are nurses. We are, everything. Psychologists, psychiatrists, teachers, everything. Musicians. Also, I want to acknowledge your work with Egbe in the school. Your school nurse. And she talks about this on her medical, on her all the stories that she speaks about in her blogs is excellent. The children that come up, and it's
I be real. Trying to figure out how to help these kids without getting fired.
The treble children, the children that see spirits, but the parents don't believe it. The Egbe that come and she gives the candy to, or the treats to, or whatever. I mean, she has that healing. She is that healing piece for the Egbe children, and all of us belong to everybody. Egbe, every single human being belonged to Egbe before we incarnated as a human. And some people forgot their way. and so it can cause a little havoc in our lives and things like that. Or children starting to remember what Egbe they come from, and then parents don't. They like, oh, you ain't seeing nothing or whatever. Or some of them tormenting. Remember that video I posted? That child being pulled by by that spirit.
Yes.
That was real.
Yes.
That was in the
That was
islands,
scary.
and it was very scary. And that child died.
See that they took him back.
And they took him back. So just to be a medium, once you speak about your experience as the Egbe priest, working as a school nurse, being active
On the front line.
on the front line with these children.
With the children, my path of Egbe, I want to make it short because this is really about Oshun, but the path of Egbe that I have is Bale, which is a chief. So frequently, I have children that come and they're out of order, and usually, I'd say 9 times out of 10, I can look at them, and I can see in their eyes that spirit back off. Because Bale is a chief. So they're not, most of them, not all of them, most of them are not going to continue to go up against me. Some of them will push it. And those I just leave alone because I'm not trying to be in a battleground in the school system. But, many of them have told me that they have nightmares. They've told me that they hear things, they see stuff, this and that. I had one little boy who was in the kindergarten, a 5-year-old. This was years ago. And for whatever reason, his teacher would always bring him to me when he was acting up. And I'm thinking, what are you bringing him to me for? So he would bring him down there. One day he looked at me just as matter of fact, like a little old man. He said, I'm different, right? I said, yes, I know you're different. In my mind, I'm thinking I need to take your ass home for about a month and make some elbow and do some other things with you to help get you straight and then get you on a path. The challenge is a lot of the parents are bothered by Egbe issues because Egbe runs in families.
Right.
So it's a total picture. Remember, this is one of the things that was taken from us in the Middle Passage. So we don't have the tools easily accessible anymore.
Yes.
That's part of the problem. We depend on medicine. Now, I've given out a lot of medicine when I worked ICU.
Like ADHD medicine,
ADHD
stuff like that.
medicine. I've given out lots of pills, lots of IV medicine as a nurse. I don't like it all. But I give it because otherwise the kids wouldn't be able to stay in school. I wish they would do something different. One lady told me once, she said, you need to try to get an audience with some pediatricians. And I thought to myself, really? What pediatrician is going to listen to what I have to say? Hopefully after the book is out, I'll be able to get an audience with some pediatricians. Because what I'm seeing is real. And I think there's enough evidence, documented now that what our kids are going through is real. We can't always put our finger on what it is because it is spiritual, it is emotional. One thing I can say about a lot of traditionalist practicing cultures is that they don't treat emotional and mental health issues with medication like we do. They're treated as spiritual issues. And they're dealt with as such. And I certainly don't mean to bash anybody else's practice, but the unfortunate thing is that simply calling on Jesus to fix it with nothing to go along with that, prayer is helpful, but there are other things that need to be done spiritually.
I'm listening to you, and I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about some of the reading and the research that's out there now, especially around epigenetics and inherited trauma, which talks about generations back.
Yes,
that it lives in the DNA, and it can be passed down. Which I still relate to Egbe issues, right?
Yes,
because you can go back years and years and years and years, and how it can show up in a generation. It can skip. and show up in a generation.
Yep.
And so I think that given where the trend is going with research today, that it may not be far off for people
That's
to start looking at
wonderful.
that. Yeah.
I'm looking
Here's
forward to
what
that.
I think about that too. Excuse my coughing. I hope that there are enough of us who will get in on that. Because otherwise, I'm here to tell you what's going to happen
I
is
know.
the pharmaceutical companies
You're right.
are going to get in there and they're going to develop some
Yes.
kind of way to make money off of it.
You're right.
Hold on a second, ladies. We got an interruption here. Hold on. The app
Let me see.
keeps stopping. Hold on.
That's the
I'm not sure if we even
the
on.
only challenge is
No,
that.
we on.
Okay.
The only challenge is that I have concerns about pharmaceutical companies and wanting
Yes.
to do it simply for money.
That's probably going to happen.
That's why enough of us need to at least be interested and paying attention. And that's also another reason
Why
why
enough healers to do that work.
that's another reason why I try to keep a foot into that part of it which really doesn't support it, so I can see why aren't you supporting it? What are you doing to mess it up? So I can come back and say, okay, this is what we need to do because this is what's happening over here.
Right.
So that's my only concern is that
It's a valid
enough
concern.
enough of us are concerned about it that we will do something spiritually. There's enough teaching
Yeah.
or enough exposure. At least people can't say they didn't know.
Yeah, right. So I wanted. This is going to be the last week, so because this can 3 questions.
We could go on
So
all
one,
day.
yes, we could go on and on for hours. So I'm gonna
a good
answer this
question.
first.
That's a good question,
This
yeah.
question right here. Boro Boyet Boshishe is several of you have spoken about bringing your family along and helping them after you initiated. How did you explain to your family about your initiation initially, or about your path in general? I just did, and I was casted out for years. I'm still casted out. I was raised in a Jehovah Witness family, so it was really harsh, and it's still harsh to this day. And I have a I don't give a attitude and do me. I'm coming in, but I would do work for people anyway without them knowing. Like my mother, she was sick or something or was going through it. She wouldn't know I was doing that. So you know what I'm saying? She would know now, but she, like I'm gonna do some work to protect and cloak my loved ones. They gotta know, like I'm doing all this and doing all of that. You're doing the work for them.
Right.
Baby, I'm coming. You okay? And then I'm gonna let you answer that. And then like how was that topic broached and what were their reactions versus how they see you now? Now they know who I am. I've been this way for 20 years. But some of them are still trying to pull me back into the hall and Baptist and all that. But they know I ain't going back to that.
Wow.
They still try and they will still try. That's what they do, And because that's all they know. Your thing is lead by example. Just for me, just being an example, living my life the way I am. People will say, "Wow." So more people, my cousins are being more. Some of my cousins being more exposed. They're looking into African culture and spirituality and indigenous spirituality and things like that. And it's like, okay, I want to, at least they're, seeing. But what about you? You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I do, because I was kind of the groundbreaker in our family for getting into this,
Right.
and I just, I don't think I handled it really well, because I am, I tend to be somewhat of a private person, and I decided to make the change. I'm somewhat. Once I made a decision to do something, it's hard to sway me a different direction. And I was a little militant about it, and I was a little, I didn't have patience with people, asking me questions, and I was kind of like, what are you asking me questions for?
Get on my nerves.
Woo! So I would say if I were someone getting into it now, I would have a lot more patience. And I would be a lot more understanding that my expectation that someone was going to immediately like develop an understanding and an appreciation for this tradition and culture after we have been systematically reprogrammed for hundreds of years. It's just not going to happen overnight. I mean, some people who are searching are going to be looking for it, and other people in your circle may come around over time, and some people may never come around. But I will tell you this: I don't get the same responses that I used to get because I'm well. You know, I have been tested, and I'm continuing to be tested. And I'm going right back to what I know has worked for me, and it does work for me, and it's working, and it shows, and my people know it's working.
That's right.
And right. I don't know what else to say about that. Right. You know, I have sometimes been asked, you know, if there's not directly, but if there's some type of secret sauce involved. But I think what we all have to, in addition to understanding that people will come, what is Oshun Kantami said, bit by bit, that some people will come and some people won't, is that everybody's destiny is different. So I can't look at, and I was guilty of this, looking at people years ago who were living a life that I thought, I really want to be like that. But that wasn't for me. And when I came to the understanding that I got to stay on my lane, on my page, doing my stuff, and, you know, live the best me in my life that can be. And I can't be Jerry, you know, who's free to leave the country, you know, twice a year. And she rolls out the country all the time. And I'm like, dang, I wish I could leave the country, but I can't leave the country. Right? It's just, you got to do you and be a little patient with people who are going to come along slowly.
Yeah, I got this question.
What's this? There was a question I saw.
How do we begin a relationship with Egbe?
Egbe, that's the
Speak
one.
to Egbe and know what Egbe wants.
And I'm going to say this, and then I'm done talking for the whole rest of the whole rest. No, really I am. But Egbe is something special because Egbe were with me when I was a little girl, and I didn't know what this was, that I would always hear this little voice in my ear that would say something to me, or they would say, you know, so-and-so gonna do this. And I'd be like, what? And then it would happen. You know, that posse has always been with me. So in addition to Ifa, in addition to your Egungun, your ancestors, I mean the ones that you can call, the ones that are supportive of you, that Egbe piece is really crucial for us to grab back and empower for our own personal benefit and upliftment. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Let me say one thing about Egbe too, since I've had Egbe for 20 some years, I don't know. And that's not to say that I know everything about Egbe. I do not, because I'm always learning something about them. But one thing, the simplest prayer that Baba Abimbola told me to pray to my Egbe was that they always work with me and never against me. That is the simplest thing that you can say. Because mine will send me dreams and messages. If you don't write them down, you should, because if they think you're not paying attention to them, they'll stop talking to you.
Or they'll wreak some havoc in your life.
Yes, or they'll wreak some havoc in your life. Start talking to them. How many of you have grandparents that have a candy dish on the coffee table?
All of us. Can't nobody say they did.
Especially out here.
That candy. Show numbers for the Egbe. Who ain't that nasty?
And it ain't even
candy.
I'm convinced that is an Egbe. That is an Egbe.
Them licorice. Only Egbe eat licorice.
Right.
It's all hard and sticky, and can't nobody eat it.
Put you a candy dish on your table, and you can eat out of it. Just keep it in there. Keep the candy in there. I know some of that candy was nasty. Or a fruit bowl on your dining table. Your
bananas.
counter.
They love bananas.
Leave that stuff there. I remember what Baba Taiwo said to you about Jelani leaving, eating in his bedroom. And see, this is gonna sound bad, but see, this is what I be trying to tell somebody. I'm thinking, wow, what can I tell these kids they might do? So I say, well, does your mom let you eat in your bedroom? I'm thinking, do they got roaches or do they have? But I can't ask. I don't ask them that. So I said, did your mom let you eat in your bedroom? And they might say yes. So I say, okay, will you get you a bowl of cereal, whatever you're gonna eat? You eat it, and you leave like a spoonful in there, and go to bed. And then the next morning, you take it downstairs or wherever to the kitchen, and you throw it out. You set up a communication with them. Now, here's where it becomes tricky. When you got children, they need guidance, really. They really do, or else they could be going off, because some Egbe are not benevolent. Some of them can be very disruptive, and that's where you have problems. That's where you have to be saying the prayers that they work with you and not against you, because a lot of the children, I can tell, are getting some information from someplace else, and they doing stupid stuff, and it's like, why are you doing that? I don't know. Oh, okay, it's one of those situations. Somehow or other, we have to get our communities to understand that there are things going on with us. And this is the little white children too. Let's not get it twisted.
All of them.
It's everybody. Everybody has an Egbe. Everybody does.
Everybody living.
So, and everybody isn't affected the same way, but everybody's got one. Yeah. So that's just a beginning. Adults, if you've got kids that's acting a little strange, say your prayers in your house. Put that little candy dish out on the table. Put your fruit bowl out on the kitchen table or whatever that is. And be sure to say some prayers. Everybody has say some prayers.
Egbe. For me, the Egbe, I didn't learn about Egbe until my son. My son is what brought my awareness. I want to say that he was 2 years old and having seizures, and nobody knew no priest could pinpoint what it was until I went to somebody that was informative, who was trained in that area, and we did Egbe work to get him together. And then it was just always something major. Every few months, something Egbe major. I mean, like major. And he was young, so that means I'm doing the work for him. So I was redeveloping, because obviously I didn't remember this relationship with Egbe, not just his Egbe, but my Egbe. And they start appearing in my dreams. They start appearing in front of me and through people and things like that. And it would be so realistic, the dreams and the visions, and it would happen.
And remember too, this is a cooperative effort. I can't sit here and say just put a fruit bowl or a bowl of candy and that's going to fix it, period. I can't say that. As much as I would like it to be, there are times when you need the medication. That's like if you're having a heart attack, you're going to need the medicine for a while.
Yeah.
But if you think in terms of a holistic approach to it and don't leave this one out because it can't be proved scientifically. No, it's not going to be proved scientifically yet, because why should they? It's easier to give a pill. And it's more profitable and you can document it. But at this point, let's not be ridiculous. You're going to have to figure out a way to be cooperative with this. Yeah, I mean that's just the way it is right now.
That's one of my children is initiated to Egbe, and Oshun Kantami can testify to the struggles that really they just came out of nowhere.
It did.
Oh my God, 2013 was the worst. Rough ass year. It's a terrible thing when your children are spiraling out of control and there is nothing that you can seem to do to get it back under control. And even when you stop the falling, they're still dangling out on this little tiny thread of, oh my goodness, is the thread going to break? Am I really going to lose them? And then part of it has to be their own Ori has to kick in. And it has to be a lot of prayer. Once you do the work, you got to start praying that their own Ori kicks in and picks it up. Right. And that's where the faith of the matter came in for me personally, because there was nothing else I could do to help my child until his own Ori decided
Thanks.
that he wanted to pick it up.
Yep.
You know,
That Ori piece is a huge
that Ori
part.
piece was
Woo.
huge. I know we have hijacked this all.
No, but this is important.
This is going way away from
But
our
this is
children, but
important.
you know, it's like it all was crumbling, and I was looking at death and thinking I was going to bury my child, or I thought he was going to be one of those people on the street. You know, you see these people on the street, and they're looking dirty, and they're talking out of their heads, and I told him, I said, somebody along the way. That person right there was fine. They were born, they were living, they were okay, and something went sideways, and somebody couldn't fix it. And at a certain point, they had to decide to fish or cut bait, right? Because you just can't go on and on and on and on and on trying to hold on to somebody, and that's when faith kicks in. It's like, I'm going to do what Ifa told me to do, and I'm going to get quiet, and I'm going to pray and pray and pray and pray that I get my child back.
Yeah.
But that Egbe, you know, I
mental health is connected to
it's all
Egbe
connected
and
to
issues.
that.
Yeah.
You know, so to amplify what Oshun Kantami says about Egbe, and having been one who lived through that, you know, I couldn't emphasize enough the simple things. If it is a simple matter of acknowledging that the Egbe exists, and putting that little bowl of candy out there and a little bit of water, which I have out there, I'm just like,
What are they putting it to?
save yourself
Yeah.
from having to go through, you know, the experiences that I've had, the tears that have been shed, the
Stress, the hair
the
loss,
stress,
the weight gain.
the weight gain,
Oh my God,
the money that's been spent, the anguish.
Just put the candy out. You ain't got it.
Let's just put it out. Talk to her. Don't
So last question.
we.
The last question is, are they doing I'm gonna answer this first. Are they doing initiations in the U.S.? Egbe initiations in the U.S. Yeah, it's more people being initiated to Egbe, thankfully, because now it has crossed the water. For a couple hundred years, it did not cross the water, and there was not information. And what people thought was Egungun issues was really Egbe issues. And so that piece had been missing so long. So people had to go back to the root, get this information, get trained in it, get, you know, and just acquire that knowledge, you know. And I would say in the past 20 years, up until recent, it has not been a lot, but it's more and more coming. Are they doing Egbe initiations in the U.S.? I don't know. To my understanding, no, not yet. I don't know too many people that has that authority to do that as of yet. You know, I don't know. I can't answer that, but I'm sure it's going to be. If not, I'm sure it is somewhere, and it's needed, because we can't cross the water for everything. This has to start happening here. The Egbe initiations has to start helping. So, you know, as we need to train as a whole, the community, the Egbe community, go back and get the training, get the Odu information, the verses, the songs, the Oriki, the medicine, and things like that, and bring it here, because it's many people that can't fly over to
it is. It's
Africa and
financially
things like
prohibitive.
Right. And so it's important that we learn this and do this here in the diaspora.
Can I
Somebody
explain-
wants to explain Egbe.
Yeah, can I explain that real quick? Or
Yeah,
you wanna-
yes. It's Ian Barber.
We had a workshop over here last year or something, and in a nutshell, what we were told is that your Egbe is your first family. That's the first family in the spirit world. Before that, you're at home. You're in heaven. However you want to put that. You have a family, a peer group there. Then you are born on earth into your earthly family, which is your parents that you know, your siblings, yes, your aunts and uncles. That's your earthly family. Those are your ancestors. But your Egbe is that spiritual family that you had before you were born on earth. And they still will visit you. And there's a lot of things that could go along with that. The choosing of your Ori, if you choose a good, strong Ori. The husband and wife, oh my goodness. The husband and wife that you, or wife that you had in the spirit world can disrupt your relationship. Whether you chose a good Ori to come to earth with, or you got one that's got cracks and things in it, so you be tripping when you get here. And then you have to remember your destiny when you get here also. So there's a lot of things that go on. And if your Ori is a little bit iffy, which some people's are, it just is what it is, and you have to try a little bit harder. But I hope that answers the question about who is the Egbe. That's your first family before you get here.
Yep.
It's kind of like your homies, you know, the people you like to hang out with.
Yep.
Now that's can you tell the difference between Egbe, Orun, and then your us as the Egbe? Like here is the Egbe, because there's the Egbe. Did you see that? They just took the doggone icing off. Did you see that? They just gonna take the icing off.
They want the sugar icing down there.
What kind of mess is that? Okay. Have you ever seen that? Okay, but I'm saying that, like your group, like Egbe, Oberon, you know, we're a group of women who come together, initiated priests that come together. You have that type of Egbe, which is different from the spiritual Egbe we're talking about.
Egbe means society.
Yeah.
And Egbe Ogba, which I was told was the name of the group formally, it means the group does not accept, or the society does not accept, meaning that they're a little bit precocious and you got to work with them, basically.
Yeah. I've seen it. We've seen it. Yes, we have seen it. You know, I have a child who was a leader in the community, and the Dafa came for him
yes, it does.
when he was 6 years old. That he was a leader in the community, and that his community in heaven was not happy that he was here. They wanted him back. You know, so yeah. It's been a bit of a struggle, but then you know it's good. It's good.
It is good.
It's turning into goodness. There's a lot of work to be done.
So we're going to wrap this up.
I guess.
Yeah.
We had to take Baller to the bathroom.
Oh. Yes, I have enjoyed this. I've never done a Facebook Live.
Yes, that was nice. Thank you,
never done
Ears.
Facebook
This
Live.
was very informative, and just to let people know that Oshun, even though the start of Oshun and Egbe. So, you know, of course they're gonna merge together and spill over and things like that.
Right.
I mean, I honor these women because they're my elders. I respect them because they're my elders, my sisters, my aunties.
Yeah, she knows a lot.
Yes.
Don't be.
I know
fooled.
nothing.
She knows a lot.
I'm just the elder.
Compared to-
I'm just the elder in age. Right? I'm the youngest.
They know what they
do.
Don't please don't let them. No, I'm
You know,
like
the thing about
I'm like
that
this.
is-
I'm like the tip of this nail right here. Because what it is that a lot of my wisdom and knowledge is experiential, and it's very specific to my journey. You know, and I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to infuse that with the actual traditional teaching, so I can put my experiences with you know, the teachings, and then hopefully it'll grow into something that'll be even bigger and even stronger and even more powerful to share. And that when I get around to doing that, like, did you hear retirement in that? That there will be some people, hopefully young people, you know, that I'll be able to have an audience with and sit and talk to and share something with. And
I'll be there, front and center.
You,
Yeah, they're awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. I
Thank you.
appreciate you. And this ain't the last. This ain't the first or the last. So looking forward to some future. You hear that little Egbe in there? So thank you for coming on out and supporting. And don't forget to hit up Ia on her website www.bbeyondcategory.com. Her blog is
Hood Medical.
Hood Medical.
and Ibukule's Nest.
Yeah, Ibukule's Nest, yes.
It's the bomb. Trust me, she got some stories that
cheering.
had you like, wow, you know, amazing spiritual and real life stories. Thanks, and we'll talk to you soon. Oh,
Double.
Indeed.